continue our discussion with the AC power losses and the power flows. No, we also have here the voltage regulation and the speed regulations. No, so during your DC machine, I assume I did discuss also the power flow diagram. No, you don't have to memorize yung parang kumbaga mga formulas lang. No, ang maganda dun na memorize niyo is how the power flows. No, paano nagpo-flow ang power ng generator and the motor. No, so before ka magkaroon ng generated electricity or the generated output power, no, what are the considerations or ano yung mga losses na mga matatanggal muna bago maging pure yung magiging output mo, no? So from the P input and the P output, no? Also with motor, ganun din lang, no? Parang nabaliktad lang din siya. And this one, gagawin lang natin siyang three-phase. So from your, seems like for your DC circuits, gagawin mo siyang three-phase. And also here, we also have here the DC and gagawin naman natin siya ngayon as AC, no? So for efficiency of an AC machine, that is equal to efficiency P output over P input. But since ang P output natin, that is also equal to P input less P losses natin, so we may derive the formula there na P input less P losses over P input times 100%. No? So yan po yung calculations po natin. And then if you're going to consider, ano kaya yung mga losses? What are the losses in the machines? No? First, we have there the electrical or copper losses. So, saan po yan nanggagaling na losses po natin? Mr. Sandy Butak, saan po nanggagaling yung losses na yan?
Under AC machine po, ma'am. AC machine power flows.
Yes, saan banda sa AC machine natin? That is in the occurs at the stator natin, armature winding, tsaka sa rotor field windings natin. So for a three-phase machine, the stator and copper losses and synchronous motors. So we have there dun sa may armature natin, yung dumadaloy dun ng current, tsaka yung resistance. You are going to square the current and multiply it by the resistance. Bakit may multiplicator tayo na 3? Since that is already a three-phase. Also with the field windings, or that is the part of rotor windings, no? Rotor copper losses po natin, RCL. So that is 3 is equal to I squared, IF squared, multiplied by the field resistance, no? And then, other than that, we also have the core losses. How about the core losses, Mr. John Vincent?
Core losses, ma'am, they are the losses that I hysteresis losses and eddy current losses, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. So, saan nagaganap ang hysteresis losses naman natin tsaka si eddy current losses? That is generated from the flux at saka sa may speed rotation natin. Yan na yung hysteresis tsaka si eddy current losses. While operating, no, nagkakaroon na po tayo dyan ng losses. And then we have the mechanical losses. Under the mechanical losses, we have the friction and windage losses. Yung friction, that is in friction in bearings. Tsaka yung windage naman, that is the air gap. Doon sa may pagitan ng moving parts natin tsaka yung casing natin. And then, if you are going to lump together, it may also be called as no-load rotational losses of the machine, no? Ang sabi po dito, they vary as the cube rotation of n raised to 3. How about the stray losses, Mr. Melchor?
Ma'am, may ano po, about sa mga excess po na loss.
Yes, tama. Excess. Parang kumbaga is yun na yung nakalump together din lang siya. Isa na yun, no? So yun na yung mga other losses na hindi na natin, parang maliliit lang din lang siya, pero pag ika-calculate mo rin, it could be a factor of it since it is a 1% of the full load, no? If either hindi man sinabi sa inyo, for example, nagtatanong sa problem, no? And wala kayong pagkukuhanan unless meron lang kayong full load losses. So, ibig sabihin, doon yung pwedeng kukunin si 1%. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, power flow diagram, we have here the AC generator. So, mapapansin ninyo dito, no? Meron tayong stray losses, mechanical losses, core losses, no? This is from the P input natin. Before pa man siya ma-convert, no? Magkakaroon tayo ng P converted. Meron ka ng stray losses, mechanical losses, and core losses. And before pa man siya na magkakaroon ng output, you have there now the I squared R losses, or that's the copper losses, no? And then same with the mechanical, no? Parang baliktarin mo lang, no? So that is upper losses, and then we have here, before pa man siya mako-convert sa output niya, tadaan ka muna sa mga losses ng core losses, mechanical, tsaka stray load losses, no? How about the voltage regulation? Ang voltage regulation naman natin, that is calculated, no? Or this is usually solved or used in the generator, since voltage ang mga outputs natin dyan. Or yan yung isa na pinagkukuhanan natin, no? So, VR ngayon, that is, kaya meron tayong governor speed regulation na tinatawag, since kinukuha natin ng voltage speed kasi ng characteristic ng generator. So, V no load, that's V full load over V full load times 100%. So, the lesser, no? The lesser the value of VR, it implies that the generator's in output voltage is more constant for various loads. So, kahit ilan pa ang load or kahit magbago-bago pa man kayo dun ng loads dun sa generator ninyo, magkakaroon kayo ng constant or medyo stable lang yung pag-vary ng voltage natin. Yun ang ibig niyang sabihin. How about the speed regulation naman? Ang SR naman, that is usually for the motors. That is for usually motors, no? So, ang SR natin ngayon is speed no load, that's speed full load over speed full load, no? Or pwede nyo gagamitin yung omega natin, or that is the rotational, less rotational natin at full load over full load. So, the lesser naman dito, or the positive SR po natin, implies that the motor's speed drop from increasing load with increasing load, no? And then the magnitude of the SR naman reflects I stiffness of the motor's speed torque curve. Any questions, clarification regarding that one before we are going to start with the calculation of the examples? Any questions, clarifications?
None po, ma'am.
If not, we are going to proceed now with the provided their activity, but we are going to do it as an examples, no? So, simula po tayo sa number 10. Baliktad po tayo ngayon, no? Magsisimula tayo from number 10. Ayan, so number 10 natin, 3-phase Y-connected 50 Hz two-pole synchronous machine has a stator of 2,000 turns per phase. If the line-to-line voltage is 6 kV, calculate the rotor flux. So how are we going to solve for number 10? Or anyone that would like to solve for number 10? May gusto po bang mag-solve? Given 3-phase Y-connected frequency that is equal to 50 Hz. Number of poles po natin that is equal to 2. Turns per phase po natin that is equal to 2,000. If the line to line or ang VL natin that is equal to 6 kV, what will be the flux? Ano ang gagawin natin to solve that problem? Anyone that would like to recite?
Hanapin mo na yung phase voltage, ma'am.
Okay, so let's have Miss Ganaban. Phase voltage. So if you're going to solve for the phase voltage po, E-phase po natin. So since that is Y connected, no? Ano ang magiging E-phase natin? So that is equal to V line natin. Divide natin siya ng square root of 3. So that is equal to 6 kV. Divide natin siya ng square root of 3. So what is the value of the E-phase po natin? Tama ba, Miss Ganaban?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so according to Miss Veronila, we have 3464.1016. Same with Miss Barut. How about the others? Okay, Mr. Nguyen. So that is equal to 3464. 3464.1016. 1016 voltage, no? After solving for the value of E phase, what are we going to do now?
Pwede na kunin yung flux mo.
Maximum. Do we have to solve for maximum? Okay, so let's try to solve for maximum. Mr. Miguel, how are we going to solve for maximum?
Kunin na po yung flux. Rotor flux mo.
E max, that is equal to,
Rotor flux mo.
oh,
Rotor flux mo.
rotor flux. Akala ko E max. Okay, so what are the equation we are going to use to solve for the rotor flux? Meron tayong E phase. So pwede natin kunin ang equation ng E phase natin. So E phase natin, that is equal to anong formula po natin for E phase? Or that is the average voltage.
Root of 2 pi f NC flux mo.
So that is equal, tama si Mr. Miguel, that is square root of 2 pi f NC natin, tsaka yung flux, no? Ayan. So since meron naman na tayong NC, no? Turns per phase. Kung mapapansin ninyo dito, sinabi niyang per phase, pero yung tinuro niya dun sa libro nung last, naka-per phase tayo should be NP, wherein KPKD ang gagamitin dito. KPKD. Pero dito, pwede niyong gagamitin since wala naman tayong KP at saka si KD, binigay naman na ang turns per phase natin. So, ibig sabihin, pwede na natin this one as na gagamitin. So, square root of 2 pi F natin, which is 50 Hertz, NC, which is 2,000, and then flux, no? Wherein, ang value ng E-phase natin is 3,464.1016. So what is now the value of flux? So the value of flux is 0. Can you use milliweber para mas accurate po siyang tignan? What's the value in milliweber? Kung ganito po, no, kung ano yung pinakamalapit, yun po ang sundin ninyo, no. Kung pwede nyo gawing milliweber na lang siya, milliweber. Pero kung 0.100 ganun, pwede pa, no? So, since nasa malapit naman na siya ng milliweber, gamitin nyo na siya as milliweber. 7.7970. Anong mas tama? 7970 or 7960? Malapit lang naman, no? Maybe hindi lang siguro yung iba. Pero yan na po yung sagot. Pwede na rin. Okay? Any questions for number 10? Okay, let's move on with number 9, no? A three-phase delta-connected 4-pole has 12 slots in stators having 40 turns per slot. The flux per pole in the machine is 0.060 Weber. The speed rotation is 1,800. Solve for the following: frequency, line, and phase voltages. For frequency, ano yung formula natin to solve for frequency? Or ano yung pwede nating ma-utilize para makuha natin ang value ng frequency natin? Mr. Cyril J. Mr. Cyril J.
Pwede siguro yung number times poles over the 120 degrees.
Ayan, perfect. Pwede yan. Ayan. So, pwede po natin gamitin si F is equal to Pn over 120. No? So, that is equal to number of poles natin, which is 4, and speed natin, that is 1,800. Divide nyo lang siya kay 120. So, ilan ang frequency po natin? 60. Okay? So, 60 Hertz. So, if you do not know this formula, meron pang isang paraan, no? So, since knowing, no, ang speed natin, that is equal to 1,800 revolution per minute, wherein pwede nyo namang kunin ang F natin sa omega, which is that is equal to 2 pi F, no? So, from this one, kunin nyo si omega. Gagawin nyo siya as radian per second ito. 2 radian per seconds. So, to do that, that is 1,800. Multiply nyo lang siya kay 2 pi. Sa isang revolution, meron tayong 2 pi and 60 seconds sa isang minuto. So, pwede nyo na itong isolve. So, that is 18, if I'm not mistaken, 1 over 30. Ilan to? 30. 30. Nasa 60 pi po ba?
65, ma'am.
Ayan, 60 pi radian per seconds, no? And from this omega, tama ba? Omega po natin, that is equal to 2 pi F. 1 over 30, 65. Oo nga. Hindi yata pwede to. So that is 60 pi and 2 pi F. So divide 2 pi, drop, maging 30. F natin is equal to 30. Bakit hindi sila equal? Saglit lang ha. Sa 1,800 natin, 1 over 30, 60 pa rin. Pa-check nga ako, 1,800 revolution per minute.
Hindi po talaga nagtutugma.
Hindi, no? Bakit kaya? Ayaw. Bakit kaya? Bakit ayaw? Radian per second. 1,800 times 2 pi over 60. 60 talaga. Ayaw. Joke lang. Hindi, wag na nating pilitin pero ayaw. Ayaw niya. Pero supposedly equal yan eh. Bakit kaya? Pero ito na lang, no? 1,860 Hz. No? Kasi mas makatotohanan naman kung tutuusin mo yung 60 Hz kaysa sa 30 Hz, no? And letter B, no? Resulting line voltages natin, VL. Pero bago natin makuha si VL, we have to solve for V phase, di ba? So, si V phase, pwede natin siyang i-solve as, anong pwede nating i-utilize dito na formula to solve for the value of V phase? Anong pwede nating gawin na formula from the past discussions? We're going to use the
Square root of 2 pi f, ma'am.
yan. So that is V phase or that is equal to EA, siya din lang si E phase, no? Walang problema dyan. Square root of 2 pi and NC flux F. Meron po ba tayong N? Meron. We have 40 turns per slot, no? And then, ang flux natin, meron na rin, no? And then F natin, which is equal to 60. So, that is E phase natin, that is equal to square root of 2 pi. N natin, what is the value of N? Oh. 40. Tama?
Yes, ma'am.
40 turns, no? And then multiply natin siya sa flux, which is 0.060 Weber times frequency, which is 60 Hertz. So what is now the value of A phase? That is 639.7757. 639.7757 yata. That is equal to 51. Should be 51. 51. Ayan, volts, no? Okay na tayo sa V phase natin or phase voltage natin. Kung phase
Hindi po ba 40 times 4 yung NC natin, ma'am?
NC. So if you're going to consider NC, ano ba ang definition ng NC natin?
Number of slots per phase po ba yun, ma'am?
Number
Number
of
of turns. Number of turns per phase po.
per phase. Ano yung nakalagay dyan? Kung kukunin mo yung per slot niyan, edi buo na yan, di ba? Wherein ang ginamit natin is 40 slots. Kasi kung i-multiply mo pa yan ng 12 slots, so ibig sabihin yung buo na yun na turns. Yun na yung total number of turns natin, di ba?
Multiply by 4, ma'am, kasi 3 phase tayo.
Should be 12. 160. Turns per slot.
Kasi per slot lang po siya, ma'am. Tapos, 4 slot per phase po siya, ma'am.
Let's go back with definition of NC, no? Ano ba yung NC na gino-consider natin? Balikan ko lang yung NC, no? Para maklear po tayo dyan. NC. Ang NC natin dito is NC. It should be number of turns. NC. Each of NC turns placed around the rotor magnetic field. Number of turns. Finally, if the stator coil has NC turns of war, NC turns of war. Balikan ko lang, no? Kasi nako-confuse na yata. Si Mr. Miguel yun, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Naka-confuse na yata rin ako, no? Pero tama pa rin naman kasi turns of slot yan. Kung multiply mo yan ng 120, di magiging buo na yan. And then divide mo siya ng 3 phase. Hindi mo naman alam kung ilan ang values dun sa may Q. Para kukunin mo yung turns per phase mo siya. Kasi kailangan mo yung Q. Di ba? Yun ang very important na need natin para malaman mo kung ilang slot ang meron sa isang phase natin. Slot per pole per phase. Tignan ko nga, slot per pole per phase natin, that is 12 per pole ko. Then, tama naman. 12 slot per pole natin, which is 4 divided by 3. Tama, 1. Tama, Mr. Miguel. Kasi if you are going to solve for the Q, no? That is slot per pole per phase. Kung i-divide mo yan, 12, divide mo siya kay 4, i-divide mo siya kay per phase, that is 3. So, ibig sabihin yung isang slot natin, that is the per phase already. Nagets ba? Mr. Miguel,
Yes, ma'am.
kasunod ka? Narinig mo yung sinabi ko?
Yes, ma'am.
Kasi kung kukunin mo dito, no, kung yung per phase ang sinasabi na NC po natin, ibig sabihin lang yan, kailangan natin si Q or that is also equal to N wherein that is slot per pole per phase. Diba? So ilang slots tayo? That is 12. Ilang pole? That is 4. And then divide mo kay 3. So 12 divide 4, that is equal to 3 over 3, that is equal to 1. So ibig sabihin, itong 40 turns per slot natin, that is already the per phase. Nagets mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan. Okay na rin ba sa'yo, Mr. Salum?
Ma'am, paano po ba? Narinig po ba ako?
Okay lang, no? Okay lang. So, any more questions, clarification regarding that one? So, if none, si Mr. Miguel na lang, no? So, if we have the E phase, what will now be the value of the line-to-line voltage? Kung meron pa tayong value ni E phase, which is 639.7751 volts. Ilan ngayon ang value ng E line-to-line po natin or V line-to-line po natin? Line-to-line voltage.
Ang same lang po sa e-page natin.
Ayan, perfect, no? It's equal. Bakit? Since they are delta connected. Okay? Okay lang kayo? Nakakasunod? So that is, ang E line natin or V line natin, that is also equal to E phase, which is equal to 639.7751. votes, no? Right? Any clarifications, questions?
Always po bang gagamitin yung KD, ma'am?
Number 8. Okay, so for number 8, recitation po tayo ngayon, no? Sa number 8, first 5 to solve that problem, or I'll be, or 10 na lang, no? Kasi marami kayo. First 10 to solve the problem will have an additional points, specifically those who are not yet have their recitation, no? Kasi nagpa-recitation na yata ako sa inyo. Check ko lang sa record ko, no, kung nakapagpa-recitation na po ako sa inyo. Machine 3A. Wala pa. So, first 10, no? First 10 to submit their papers, just send to our GC. And let's check later on, no? For number 8, this one is the question, no? Oh, may nag-send na yata ng sagot. Ay, akala ko joke lang. Akala ko may nag-send na. So, yung figure natin is nandun po siya sa nandun po sa module po ninyo, or copy na lang po natin, no? That is the figure. And solve it. I'll be giving 15 minutes kasi 5 problems to, no? I'll be giving points to those who are going to submit, no? First 10 po na mag-submit ng papel nila sa GC po natin. Just take your time, no? Mahaba-haba pa po ang oras natin. First tend to submit their papers po, no? Kasi para mabigyan po sila ng points. Just try. Wala namang masama if you're going to try. May mga magsisend pa po ba? We have Mr. Mike who finished first, no? About the others, meron pa po ba? Okay, may nagsasolve pa po ba?
Meron po.
Okay, aantayin na lang namin, no? We're going to wait for your solutions, no? Just take your time, no? Okay, may inaantay pa po ba tayo? Wala na yata, no? Since wala naman nang sumasagot, no? Wala na po ba? Okay, so if not, let's solve for letter A. Ayan. So for letter A, what will be now the voltage induced in the rotating loop? What will be now the formula in calculating, or what are we going to use to find for the induced voltage in a rotating loop? Mr. Miguel, yung una nag-submit kanina.
2 pi F. 2 pi F flux na.
E-induce, that is equal to 2 pi F flux.
Yes, ma'am.
2 pi F flux. 2 pi F. Wala tayong frequency. Meron tayong frequency. Makukuha sa omega. F natin. Pero ang tinatanong is the induced loop voltage in a rotating loop. So the equation on how are we going to solve for the value of the voltage. Since induced voltage, kung mapapansin po ninyo, ang induced voltage po natin is always in an equation or somewhat equation po natin since given po ang mga magnetic flux, given po ang length, given po ang radius and omega, we're going to use yung formula natin which is 2R omega magnetic flux length sine omega t. Yan ang formula natin ngayon sa i-induce natin. Based on the given, so that is equal to 2. Ang R natin is 0.1. Omega natin is 103. And then B natin, 0.5. The value of length is 0.5. And that is sine of omega is 103t. No? So if you're going to get the product of this one, so 2 times 0.1 times 103 times 0.5 times 0.5, what will be now the product?
5.15 sine 100 t volts.
So that is 5.15 sine of 103 t volts, no? Ayan. That will be for letter A. What if, sa letter B naman, ang tinatanong niya, what if meron tayong connected na resistor across the terminal of the loop? So dun sa may across niya, what will be now the value of the current across? So, ibig sabihin, nakaparallel. So, kung ano ang voltage natin dito, siya din lang ang voltage natin sa resistor. No? So, kung kukunin natin ngayon ang current, so since naka-equation eto, naka-time domain po siya, kukunin naman natin si current as an instantaneous value or naka-time domain din lang siya. So, ang I natin ngayon, since parehas sila ng voltage, so ang i-induce natin, divide lang natin siya kay resistance. No? So that is equal to 5.15 sine of 103t, divide nyo siya kay R which is 5. So what is now the value of our current?
1.03 sine 103 t A.
Sine 103t amperes, no? And then for letter C, sa letter C naman natin, what is our equation again in solving for the torque induced? Sa P naman natin.
2R ILB sine t. Sine
2 R
I
RILB
B sine
Theta.
sine
theta.
theta. Or inyong theta natin is omega t. Di ba? So that is equal to 2. Ang R natin, balikan po natin yung given, no? That is 0.1. Ano ang value ng current natin? That is
1.0.
1.03 sine of omega t. And then, L natin is equal to 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And then B natin, 0.5 Tesla. And then, sine of omega t, or that is 103. Ito, pwede niyong gawin na rin na 103 yan. 103 t. No? So, if you are going to solve for this one, calculate nyo lahat ang mga constant niya. 2 times 0.1 times 1.03. Tapos 0.5, 0.5. 0.5 lang yan ha. Unit niya is Tesla. Ayan. So, ano ang product ngayon yan? 2 times 0.1 times 1.03 times 0.5 times 0.5.
0.0515 times per.
Can you please to type to our chat box? Tignan ko na lang po siya doon para hindi po kayo nagsasapawan. Thank you so much po, no? So, parang indicates lang po na talagang nakikinig po kayo lahat. And I'm very thankful po na ganyan po na kahit pa paano, lahat po kayo is nakikinig sa klase po natin, no? Thank you so much. So, according to Sandy and Mr. Montclair, that is 0.0515 sine squared omega t. Okay, tama po yun, no? So, that is 0.0515 sine squared na po natin since dalawang sine natin. And then omega natin, which is 103 t Newton meter. No? And next po tayo, no? Okay, another question. What is the direction of the inducer?
Counterclock.
Why counterclockwise?
Kasi yung flux natin, ma'am, is to the right.
Yes, and kung mapapansin po ninyo kasi, kung pinag-aralan, I'm not sure kung nadidiscuss pa ito sa mechanics o kaya dun sa, kasi dati, inaano yan sa forces tsaka sa torques. If ever, positive po siya, we are going to consider that as counterclockwise. So, same direction din lang po tayo dito. Kung positive po yung force po natin, naka-upward or counterclockwise po siya. Pero kapag naka-negative, that is clockwise. I'm not sure kung yun din po ang tinuro sa inyo dati. Or, I'm not sure lang, no? Pero hopefully. Okay, next is the electric power generator. So, the question here is the electric power generated. It's not the P electrical, but it is the PG. Or yun po yung P input po natin. Ano yung na-generate natin ngayon dito? Or the P output? P generated. Tama. P generated na power. So, paano ngayon natin kukunin ang power? Power is equal to
B in times I.
tapo.
Voltage times current, ma'am.
Yes, tama si Mr. Miguel, no? So, we are going to solve that as the voltage tsaka si current, no? Sa DC, no? P is equal to IV or VI, no? So, since naka-instantaneous po tayo dyan, or that is in time domain, pwede nyo gamitin si E-induce tsaka si I-induce, no? I current, or that is the instantaneous value of current. So, ang E natin, no? E natin kanina, that is 5.15 sine of 103t. Multiply nyo lang kay current, which is 1.03. Sine ba to? Sine of 130. 130. So that is the equation, no, of P. Ang P natin dito is in terms of time, kaya P of T po siya. No? So what is now the value of power generated? P generated po natin, that is equal to 5.3045. So that is 5.3045 sine squared 103t. So dito, naka-in terms pa rin siya, no? Or naka-time domain pa rin siya. So kung kukunin po ninyo yung numerical niya or p niya, so pwede nyo gamitin din to, no? Since naka-maximum eto, maximum din yan. So based on the equations only, no? Naka-maximum po yan, kukunin po ninyo ang RMS value. So 5.15 over square root of 2, no? Then multiply nyo siya sa current, which is 1.03 over square root of 2. Or pwede nyo kunin dito sa PT para makuha nyo yung average value niya or RMS value. Naka-numerical na lang siya. That is 5.3045, divide nyo lang siya kay 2. So ilang watts ngayon ang power generated natin? Ilan ngayon ang value ng power generated po natin?
2.65 mo. Watts.
2.65 watts, no? So that is not the power. Okay, other than that, may pinapasog pa pala. Akala ko tapos na, no? We have the mechanical power. So how are we going to solve naman for mechanical power? So based dun sa power flow diagram po ninyo, ang P mechanical po natin, or letter D, P-mech, that is equal to, paano po natin kukunin si P mechanical? Dun sa power flow diagram, before pa man po siya na ma-convert, we have the P mechanical. Or that is, no, the P mechanical is yung torque induced natin. Multiply natin siya kanino?
Omega mo.
Kay omega. So that is equal to torque induced multiplied by omega. So ang torque induced natin kanina dito, torque induced, ayan, 0.015, 0.0515 sine squared 103t. Then omega natin, wherein that is equal to 103 radian per seconds. Tama po ba? So what is now the value of P mechanical po natin?
Yung 5.30 sine squared omega t, ma'am.
So 5.3045 sine squared 103 watts, no? So kung mapapansin niyo yung equation natin sa P mechanical at saka si P generated, they are equal. Bakit kaya equal sila? Wherein they are supposedly be unequal. What do you think is the reason? Bakit sila nag-equal? So the reason behind that, no, hindi naman natin kinonsider kasi yung mga other losses natin. Like stray losses, we have the core losses, di ba? Hindi naman natin kinonsider yun. We're just, ideally lang siya na nilagay dyan yung problem or nilagay dyan wherein they are nearly equal supposedly. No? There should be always a losses. There is no perfect machine. Pero, based on our given, since maliliit lang din kasi siya na value, kung mapapansin nyo, 2.65 watts, no? Parang ang liit lang. So, it's parang negligible yung losses nyo. Almost near to the 100 efficient. Pero wala pong 100 efficient. That is just theoretically. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo?
Yes po.
Okay. So, any questions, clarifications before I'm going to check your papers? May nagpapa-excuse yata. Ayan, ingat po. Si Ian, pag meron pa si Ian, ingat po, no? Mhm. Magbigay na lang ako sa'yo ng credit, Mr. Miguel, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Miguel. Patricio? Patricio, no? Patricio.
Ma'am, may tanong lang po ako.
Yes po?
Ano pong pinagkaiba ng NP sa NC po?
Pinagkaiba ng
NP tapos NC po.
ang NP po natin is that is in our past discussion, ang NP po natin is in phase po siya. Naka-phase na po siya. Wherein that is utilized for KD at saka si KP. Si KP po natin, naka-NC po muna. Nasa number of turns pa lang po siya. Pero dun po sa may added na po yung KD po natin dyan. If you are going to multiply again with KD, na meron na po yung KD natin, you are going to use the NP, or that is the per phase turns already. Okay na po ba?
Ma'am, so kung 1 po parehas yung KDKP natin, eh yung NP po ay parang NC na din siya?
Once na nagkaparehas ang
Na 1 po yung value ng KDKP po natin.
1. Could be possible kasi 1 na siya eh. Sa isang slot na yun eh. Okay na po ba? Sino yung nagtanong?
Ang Salom po.
Ay, okay. Okay na, Mr. Salom?
Opo, ma'am.
Yes, for further of that, no, for further samples and others, you may use the other references for, gaya ng sinabi ko, I'm using the Book of Electric Machinery by Chapman, Teraha, Siskind, sino pa ba? Yun lang naman, tsaka 1001. I'm not using 1001 pag minsan kasi kahit magpa-exam, pwede na sa face-to-face actually. Pwede na akong kukuha doon ng pagpa-exam ko sa inyo. Bakit? Hindi naman na kasi kayo, I'm not saying, no? I'm not saying na lahat kayo nangungopya. Pero hindi mo yan maiwasan kahit anong gawin natin, kahit anong rason ninyo na hindi kami nangungopya, hindi nyo yan pwedeng masabi yan sa amin. That's why yung 1001 that is just for examples. Hindi na ako kumukuha doon ng exams, no? So, ang pinagkukuhanan ko is just a secret book. Secret ko na lang po yun, no? I have a lot of resources na wala sa internet. Pasensyahan na lang po tayo. Pero, konti lang po ang gagawin kong pang prelim po ninyo, no? Please review on windings, especially that one. Other than windings, hanggang dito, power flow losses. Baka maglalagay lang ako ng konting equation for power, no? For example, meron kang P output and P input. What is now the efficiency? If I'm going to increase the P output, what will be now the new efficiencies. Parang ganun lang kasi dyan, ang power flow diagram, we're going to utilize that pagkatapos nating ma-discuss ang generator at saka motor. Kasi kunin muna natin kung paano ba kumuha ng power generated. No? Parang ganun din lang sa DC. At may mga separately excited kayo dun, may mga series connected. Ngayon, dito naman kukuha din lang tayo ng mga ganun. How are we going to solve for the generated? And then, what is now the efficiency? Tsaka mo lang may-utilize or tsaka mo lang ma-appreciate ang power flow diagram pag na-discuss na natin. Pero sa ngayon, hindi nyo pa siya na-appreciate. No? Mga P-generated lang na mga IV, mga ganun lang pwede. Pero mga further, hindi nyo pa na-appreciate yan. And by the way, kamusta na po pala ang project po ninyo? Any reports regarding your project?
Ma'am, may list po kayo ng groupers, ma'am.
May list? Hindi po ako ang gumawa ng list na nagpa-group ako sa inyo, tama?
Yes po.
Hindi ko pa pinapasubmit pala sa inyo, no?
Ma'am, 10 po ba yung maximum?
Oo, 10 po. 10 po ang maximum. Minimum po natin, this could be 5. Kung kaya ng 5 person, pwede na po yan. 7, 8, it's a good group. Kasi pwede mo siyang i-manage. Pero yung 10 kasi, it's not manageable. Okay lang sa pagdating sa sa contribution, pero sa manage, kung lahat kayo natuto, I doubt. Pero pwede na rin kasi mahal kasi yung magnetic wire kung bibili kayo, no? That's why I made it as the maximum group numbers is 10. So sa mga babae, no, hindi lang po kayo yung I'm not just mentioning the girls, no? Pero yung mga group ninyo na hindi tumutulong, no, please help also. Lalo na sa winding kasi mahirap yan. No? At saka, para matuto rin kayo, hindi yung anong ginawa nyo dyan, di ko alam, sinabmit nyo na yung project nyo, di nyo pa alam kung paano ginawa. No? Any more questions regarding your project or...
Need po ba ng documentation, ma'am?
Yes po, I'll be giving that later on after our class or on Monday kung maabutan po natin. Kasi binigay ko na po sa section B kung ano po yung content ng paper po ninyo, no?
Ma'am, paano po yung wala pang ka-group?
Anak, maki-group ka na lang, anak. Sino yung wala pang kagrupo?
Ako po, ma'am.
Ako din po, ma'am.
Sandy and Jones Warrell. Sinong pinakamalapit sa inyo na grupo? Sinong pwedeng umampon kila Sandy at saka si Jones?
Taga-Kabatuan po ako.
Kabatuan. Taga-Kabatuan daw siya. How about Sandy?
Kawayan mo na po. Kawayan po ako, ma'am.
O, kawayan daw. Ampunin nyo na silang dalawa. Mababait mga yan, I assure you. Pwede silang tumulong sa inyo. Saan na tayo? Ampunin nyo na sila. Sinong gustong umampon kay Jones Warren? Taga-Kabatuan daw siya. Tsaka si Sandy, taga-Kawayan. Ampunin nyo na sila. Franz. Meron ba si Franz? Franz.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask you a question. Saan mo kinuha yung 1 over t dito sa may equation mo ng letter D?
Ma'am, letter D po.
Yes po.
Ma'am, wait lang, ma'am.
Ano yung 1 over t dito?
1 over T. Ma'am, doon sa P generated po.
P T generated. Yes. Bakit may 1 over T dito? Ano yung T doon na malaki?
T. Ma'am, total ma'am yung average po. Average ng power generated ma'am.
Average power. Saan mo kinuha to? Bakit may 1 over T ka dito? 1 over T of 5.30. Multiply mo siya sa 5.30. Tapos nakuha mo yung 2.65. Hmm. Hmm. Saan mo to kinuha na? Hindi mo alam?
Hindi po.
Hey, Apo. Hindi na po, Bram. Awan mo na. Kulang yung sinulat mo pag kinopya mo. Biro lang na ka. Baka mamaya galit ka na sa ikaw na naman yata kahapon yung yung last meeting yata. Hindi nakapag-attendance. Na-memorize ko ng mga last name nyo eh.
Yes ma'am.
Baka galit ka na sa akin. How about this one? Clark. Magnitude. Yun lang. Nare-record ka na pala, Hana, kay Mr. Domingo na po ako, Montclark Domingo. Para wala na po akong utang. While waiting for me to record, I'll be giving this one na lang, no? Yung susunod na problem dito, para makahabol po yung iba, no? The next problem here is number, construct. Madali lang naman pala. Kaya nyo na to. Number 7, no? Dali lang, no? Obtain, differentiate, blah, blah, blah. It's very, na lang siya. Ito na lang. Wala naman na. Kasi yung frequency at saka speed dyan, manageable nyo naman na yan, no? Sinong hindi pa marunong kumuha ng speed? Provided yung number of poles at saka yung frequency. Wala naman na yata, no? Wala na, no? May hindi pa po ba nakakaalam? Na sobrahan yata ni John Mary Chris. Square root of 2 pa rin anak yung pagkuha mo doon ng kasi naka-IMAX pa rin yan. It's not square root of 3. You don't have the basis of square root of 3. Hindi mo siya pwedeng gawing 3-phase yan kasi hindi naman na rin na ang gagamitin mo dyan na tama is you're going to convert that to RMS value. Pero okay naman na yung solution mo. Okay na yan. Malapit na rin. Mary Chris, anong pilyado mo na? Anong pilyado mo na, Miss Mary Chris?
Rosario po, ma'am.
Rosario. And we have John Vincent. Saglit lang ha.
Bagsak.
Ayan, okay na po, no? Na-record ko na po siya. We still have, same with Mr. Sandy Butak, no? Where did you get the T? And how did you utilize that in finding the number?
Ma'am, over 2 po yan para average.
Over 2? Ano yung T? Tsaka meron kang DT. So, ibig sabihin you're integrating. Okay. So, tinitingnan ko sa module nyo. wala naman ako masyado dito, no? So, on Monday, next meeting again, no? Any questions before we are going to end? Any clarifications? So please expect your exam problem solving, findings, and etc. Everything under the sun, no? And please also read for blah blah blah, mga terms specifically in machines, in AC machines, mga ganun. Kasi ganito po, no? Kasi baka nagtataka kayo, bakit nagpapa-exam si ma'am? Well, hindi naman niya na-discuss. The other part of that is just to test kung nagbabasa kayo ng other references or other books, no? That is just to test kung yung knowledge na meron kayo is beyond sa tinuturo ko or kung ano lang yung meron sa inyo. Parang ganun lang. That is just a testing sa inyo, no? So, I'd like to encourage each and everyone to please read. Huwag po kayong magsasawa, no? Na magbasa ng libro, mag-practice solving para din lang po yan sa inyo. Hindi naman kailangan na 24 hours kang nagsusolve. Hindi ganyan. Kailangan mo ding magpahinga. Kailangan mo ding mag-relax. Pero yung pagre-relax ninyo, hindi naman kailangan maglasing kayo para ma-relax kayo. There are so many ways on how are you going to relax, no? Okay, so wala po kayong tanong? Wala po ba? So if none, thank you so much for attending the class and see you on Monday again. Okay lang po ba? Ayaw niyo yatang mag-end ng klase.
Yes, ma'am.
Akala mo gusto niyo mag-klase. Okay, see you all. Ingat po tayo maghapon.
Bye po, ma'am.
Bye
Ma'am, hindi po ba Tuesday, ma'am?
Po?
Hindi po ba Tuesday, ma'am, ang pasok natin?
Ay, Tuesday ba tayo? Ay, oo pala. Sorry. Tuesday po tayo. Prelim exam will be on Friday, next week.
Prelim exam man.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you po.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, may tanong lang po.
Yes po.
Ma'am, yung binigay niyo po ba na list of student dito po sa GC po natin, yun na po yung mga 3A?
Yes po. That is from registrar already.
Ay, sige po. Thank you po.
Sige po.